Spyder's back. This is just a continuation of my first one that I just did, okay, on September 11th of 2020. And I was talking about when Mr. Ambrosi, I was gonna elaborate on it, but when it was on the green zone, as they were having meetings with the new CFL Innovation Rules Committee and the CFL's Rules Committee. But this was a new CFL Innovation Rules Committee with my new presentation was going to be presented to them. And they were starting meetings, and Jamie Nine had him on. Mr. Ambrosi, the commissioner of CFL, had him on. And Jamie Nine knows about my CFL Red Arm role. And I informed them that it was going to be, because I trust him and a few others like Mr. Van Stone, and they deserve to know. But I didn't tell anybody else, nobody else knew, but the CFL and of course the commissioner of the CFL and the new CFL Innovation Rules Committee members who received my brand new presentation, brand new one, that was going to be presented to them. So Mr. Nine knew this, so he asked Mr. Ambrosi, because he came out of their first meetings, and he says, is there any, because like, Jamie Nine's not stupid, right? He said, because he knows that my CFL Red Arm rule was being revisited and looked at with the new members of CFL Rules, Innovation Rules Committee. So he asked the commissioner straight up, is there anything exciting coming down the pipeline? Any new rules? Any excitement to announce? Anything big? Anything big? And like he was really like he talked about the Rouge and which is just a minor adjustment that really no one cares about so much really. I don't think there should be awarded for missing a field goal though. But anyway. And he talked about he liked some of the new XFL rules, but he never mentioned a thing about my rule being presented to the CFL Innovation Rules Committee, which really upset me. And it really was a slap in the face, especially, everybody that I introduced it to at the Grey Cup, game in Calgary in 2019 and everybody else that, hundreds and hundreds of people I introduced to that really sold on it, that wanted to know what was happening and wanted to hear something, that probably listened to that probably heard, what is he talking, why doesn't he mention Spyder's CFL Red Arm rule? It's being presented to the new Innovation Rules Committee. That's super exciting, and then it's big, it's really big. It's like Rod, Peterson said, there's been nothing new, nothing exciting, nothing new to announce to the CFL. That would be at least to get exposed out there, get some excitement, get people talking about it. And he said, yeah. He should have said, yeah, there's a fan with a new rule that we're looking at being presented to the Innovation Rules Committee that could be something really big for the CFL. That's what he should have said. He didn't have to say it was my Spyder CFL Red Arm rule, but so I called him out on him and sent him an email. And, he never even answered my email. So, am I supposed to trust him on this or not? And then I did send an email back to him, and I said, I'm sorry, maybe if you wanted to keep it low profile and silenced, I don't think it should be silenced. To tell you the truth, I should be out there, like those two Bomber fans told me in the Grey Cup in Calgary. And a pub, he said it should be out there. And I gave him my brand new brochure, my Spyder CFL Red Arm rule, and told him that it was being proposed to this. CFL are looking at it seriously, and said I told him it was going to be presented to the CFL Innovation Rules Committee. So I did tell some people. I highlighted it a bit to get and that's why they said you got to get it out there. So I don't think Mr. Ambrosi handled that well, unless he wanted really silent. They wanted to make a big announcement, big splash on it, and test it in a CFL exhibition games. I said, I'll take that if that's all you want to do. I think it'd be way more exciting, a lot bigger if they introduce it for the new CFL season, like the 2021 now or 2020. It would have been big, okay, more so than an exhibition game, okay. But anyway, so I called him out on it, and then I sent an email back. I said, well, maybe if he wanted to keep it silent and everything, I got back on track with him and everything. But he never even sent me an email back on that. So I know it hasn't been fully presented yet because the meetings got halted, right? But I'm going to hold them to this, and you know, I was very skeptical what was really going on here. You know, I don't want to be snowed here, like, and made a complete fool of him. He was very anxious for it, but I got really, like it was a slap in the face, you know, no, really and truly. So I got to get exposed out there, and everybody got to know that Ambrosi promised me that it was going to be presented to the CFL Innovation Rules Committee, okay? And there can't be any ego involved here. It can't be ego involved, you know, where they didn't come up with themselves. And they're just going to toss it aside. That's what Mr. Johnson said, and that's why he came up with this new Innovation Rules Committee, where he would have had the power and that committee to overrule the CFL Rules Committee with the new Innovation Rules Committee. Now, Ambrosi came up with the same thing, but that they have the power to overrule the CFL Rules Committee, because he told me it's a process. It's got to go, my CFL Red Zone rule got to go through the CFL Innovation Rules Committee, and then it's going to go to the CFL Rules Committee, and then to the owners for approval. So I don't know if the Innovation CFL Rules Committee and the Commissioner has power over the CFL Rules Committee or not. But I know they both were going to be exposed to my new presentation, which is right here, by the way, which I'm going to be putting up, okay, very soon, probably in a week or so, on my CFL, my Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule Facebook page, okay? So, actually, oh, here we go. It's the same thing happening every time with this. I have to look down, by the way, because it's brutal. It's because of all the changes they made on the internet. I never did this before. I can't put anything up anymore. All the changes, all the software changes, nothing sticks, nothing will stay. Not on my BlackBerry Playbook. It's the only thing I can use to put it on the monitor, okay? Can't use the Chromecast because it doesn't work. It only takes you to YouTube. You know? It's no good. Anyway, so like here's the intro. I'm going to highlight a bit of my presentation. Here's the intro, okay? You see it right there. That I showed my Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule field diagram that shows the 20 yard line, sorry, outlined in red, both sides of the white line of the 20 yard line, and the number 20, meaning 20 yards at the 20 yard line, which is the red zone, outlined in red, the 2 and the 0, of course, the 20, outlined red, and both sides of the field, of course, in both end zones, offensive and defensive, okay? And it's like Greg Johnson just loved it. He just loved it. He said, we can do that. He wanted to do that right on the field. Man, would that look good too on TV. And the money, the sponsorship tags, money, with graphics they could put when they're in the red zone, use my CFL Red Zone Rule and my CFL Red Zone Rule kick at the 35-2, the graphics that they could put up, and the sponsorship tags, the money, the revenue they could haul in on this would be unbelievable. The betting, can you imagine the betting on my CFL Red Zone Rule? When they're in the red zone rule, betting on it, whether they're going to score or not with my Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule, it's unbelievable. Seriously, unbelievable. I'm surrounded with crows here. not happy. Neighbors feeding crows, not happy with it. So anyway, so what I did on the brochure and on the intro of my presentation to the commission of the CFL that's being presented to the Innovation Rules Committee, probably 2021 now, is I put it on my new brochure, and this is the start of my presentation to them. And it says, CFL Commissioner and CFL Owners, GMs and Coaches, the new CFL Innovation Rules Committee 2020. And there's a CFL Red Zone Rule field diagram, okay? And then what I come up with something that I did a session on, actually, a video, actually, that foggy video down there on YouTube, I think it's my Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule nutshell session, by the way. So, but what I did, Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule in a nutshell. That's the first part of my new presentation that's being presented to the CFL Innovation Rules Committee, now 2021. So, I'm going to read it to you. Just think about this. Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule in a nutshell. Isn't that catchy? That's another catchy thing that can be sold. It's simply an enforcement rule. CFL teams will play exciting CFL three-down football in the red zone to score touchdowns if the third down is needed and if stopped on third down in the red zone, still maintaining possession of the ball, they will get Spyder CFL red zone rule kick from the 35-yard line. That's it in a nutshell. It would also apply and be enforced in overtime along with the current enforced 2-point convert. Can you imagine how simple that is? How simple that is. So basically, it's an enforcement rule. Okay, like I said, the rule is already there, but it's hardly ever used. The majority of times, when a CFL team playing basically 2-down football in the red zone, get in the red zone on the 20 or inside the 20 in the red zone. If they're stopped in second down, on the 5, 4, 3, and even on the 2-yard line, they kick another boring, non-eventful, undesirable from the fans, easy chip shot field goal. Okay? That's basically like, like the former, boring single point convert before they moved it back to the 32. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like automatic, really. But now they moved back to 32. But that's where my CFL red zone rule comes in, okay? So I'll explain that to you. So if they're stopped, okay? If they're stopped, okay, and not forced outside the red zone and still maintain possession of the ball on third down, if it's needed to go to score a touchdown in the red zone with my CFL red zone rule, and they're not pushed outside the red zone on third down, playing using my Spyder CFL red zone rule, and there's no turnover, and they still maintain possession of the ball on the 20 or inside the 20 in the red zone, they get to kick Spyder CFL red zone rule kick from the 35-yard line. If you add the 7, it'd be the 42. The CFL would have to decide whether it's from the 35 or kick from the 42. But can you imagine the excitement of that? It's not automatic 3 points. The drama behind that, the drama in the red zone, my CFL red zone rule would be unbelievable. It'd be unbelievable for the fans. And live, on TV, on TSN, they could throw down the graphics and psych it up. It'd be unbelievable. But for the fans live in the stadium and on TV, it would be incredible and super exciting. Not only offensively, but defensively too. Because defensively, a team on defense can come up with a big stop, and that would be to stop them on third down, prevent a touchdown from being scored. Okay, if the third down is needed, using my Spyder CFL red zone rule in the red zone. And you imagine that even bigger than that defensively, if they forced a CFL team in offense using my Spyder CFL red zone rule in the red zone, outside the red zone on third down, preventing Spyder CFL red zone rule kick. And that's what it will do. It would prevent Spyder CFL red zone rule kick. So that's how big it would be defensively. So not only defensively how big my CFL red zone rule would be, how big it would be defensively too. The plot, it would be unbelievable. Invigorating plot. Fantastic. So I wanted to go over that, okay? The optional provision part I want to go over right now. And I don't have a lot, I only have 13 minutes left, so I'm just going to cover that and some of my super features and benefits, the 10 Spyder's 10 super features and benefits of my CFL red zone rule. Optional provision part to my proposed new CFL red zone rule. If a CFL team in offense in the last 10 seconds of the game has the ball in the red zone and stays in the red zone on first, second, and third down using the CFL red zone rule, I say Spyder CFL red zone rule at this point, they would be able to opt to kick the Spyder CFL red zone kick from the 35-yard line for 3 points to win the game or to tie the game and force it into overtime. Of course, if the CFL adopt it, it will be the CFL red zone rule and the CFL red zone rule kick. Okay, let's get back to that. So the CFL could have it apply to the last 10 seconds of both halves of the game, or to have it apply to the last 10 seconds of the game. I'm referring to the optional provision part. The optional provision part would not apply to the current CFL overtime format because there is no clock. But if added, it would cover all possible scenarios that would arise in a CFL game with my Spyder CFL red zone rule, making it 100% foolproof. The CFL could the CFL would have to decide to include it or not. Okay, to make it part of my CFL red zone rule or not. Okay, it's an optional provision part. Okay, So it's quite simple. If a CFL team on offense in the last 10 seconds of the game has the ball in the red zone and stays in the red zone on the first, second, and third down using the CFL red zone rule, they would be able to opt to kick the CFL red zone kick from the 35-yard line for 3 points to win the game or to tie the game and force it in overtime. Okay? The CFL could have it applied to the last 10 seconds of both halves of the game, or have it applied to the last 10 seconds of the game. Okay? So the CFL would have to decide whether that would make that part of the Spyder CFL red zone rule. I believe it should be. It really makes it 100% foolproof. At one point, I thought it'd be better to play out on its own, but I believe it should be at this point. Okay. So I want to go over the 18% guaranteed touchdown scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams for a completed regular CFL season with Spyder CFL red zone rule. I wanted to go over that optional provision part twice just to make sure you understand it. Okay. Touchdown on the average percentage, this is on the guaranteed 18%, of more touchdowns scored in the red zone with Spyder CFL red zone rule. Based on the average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in the 2017 and in the 2018 season of 54.8 and a 50.7%. With Spyder CFL red zone rule, it would, look at, there we go. It's just a nightmare, this thing. It's really, come on. Why can't you just stay there? Okay? There, I'm off. I'm very sorry. With Spyder CFL red zone rule, it would guarantee an increase of 18% if you take 54.8% and multiply it by 33% equals 18%. Based on an increase of one more down in the red zone, okay, that's with my Spyder CFL red zone rule, if needed, which equals 33%, okay, a third, first, second, and third down in the red zone, you get a guaranteed increase of 18% of more touchdowns scored in the red zone. Then multiply 54.8% by 18% equals 64.9%, taking it from 54.8% to a 65% of an average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in a completed regular CFL season, resulting in 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone for a total of 200 more points in the CFL if all single point converts were successful. That's when you take the spread of 4 points between the touchdown being scored in the red zone versus another predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goal in the red zone, or slightly outside the red zone, depending on where the second down stop was made in the red zone. And on a 20% increase, 56 more touchdowns scored in the red zone for a total of 224 more points. And on a 25% increase, 70 more touchdowns scored in the red zone for a total of 280 more points, taking it from the 2017 54.8% to an average percentage of 65.8 to a 68.5% increase. These are validated and substantiated impressive numbers. Could not be possible realistically and reachable unless my super exciting CFL red zone rule was made part of the CFL 3-down game. So that's how big my CFL red zone rule is. That 18% guarantee is unbelievable, and 20% and even 25% is reachable and obtainable. Can you imagine how the percentages alone, how big my CFL red zone rule would be for a CFL 3-down game? It's unbelievable. Like, I'm going to post this. There's a thing on Bo Levi Mitchell because I gave him a brochure and introduced the guaranteed 8% to him. Well, he noticed it on the brochure. He said, I really like that guaranteed 8%. And he saw my Spyder CFL red zone rule hat and he said, what's that, Spyder? What's the Spyder CFL red zone rule? And I gave it to him in a nutshell, and I told him it was on the brochure, and I told him about the 18%, and he was blown away by the 18%. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? There's a picture of Steve Armitage and I, too, with my Spyder CFL red zone rule hats, okay? All right. We're getting close to the end because I'm going to have to come back and do another session on this and carry it through because I'm not able to, because I didn't go 27, I only went 23, so we're going to have to do three sessions on this, but that's okay. Here's a few comments okay, Steve Armitage, a sports legend and an icon who has done 27 Grey Cups, is fascinated by Spyder CFL red zone rule and has given it his stamp approval. You can tell by the picture there. I met with him, okay, and he gave an endorsement. He's blown away by it. He was the last guy I surveyed at St. Mary's, okay, football game, okay. Okay, and when you have someone that is well respected and recognized and is prominent in sports as Steve Armitage, who has done 27 Grey Cups, give my Spyder CFL Red Zone rule a stamp approval, you know you have something big. You know you have something really big. Steve Armitage told me that the CFL needs to acknowledge that they are in a highly competitive professional sports market today and realize that they are really selling entertainment and excitement. And he said that's exactly what my super exciting Spyder CFL Red Zone rule will do. Steve Armitage said it would unquestionably make our CFL 3-down game a lot more entertaining and a lot more exciting brand of CFL 3-down football to watch, okay, live and on TV. And at the same time, it would still remarkably preserve our CFL 3-down game. Can you imagine? That is unbelievable. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud that, look at that, it just went off. Everything goes off here. It's just a nightmare. It's just unreal. It's just, it won't stay. It just won't stay. It's just, I'm casting, that's why. It's unbelievable. I made comments. Oh, here we go. Come up with a plan. I need to come up with a much better plan. See? Okay, yeah, that's it, to get it exposed. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying there. There's amazing stuff here. I did things on fans, what they said about my CFL Red Zone rule in my presentation, which I'll read to you. And the bottom line and the marketing and branding of my CFL Red Zone rule. And there's my banner. There's a picture of my banner. I'll read it what it says. I put a picture of that was the last of it was like, it's a 15-minute presentation, okay, to read, okay. Spyder CFL Red Zone rule, complemented by the new compatible CFL Red Zone rule kit. So football fans, if you want no more distasteful 2-down football stops in the red zone, or no more boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone in the CFL, chant loud in the red zone. We want Spyder CFL Red Zone rule. We want Spyder CFL Red Zone rule. That's at the bottom, but I'm going to cover what's in between that in my next presentation, so I'll be doing 3 just to cover the full presentation for you, okay? So signing off, take care. I'll be back for the 3rd part of this session that I'm doing today, and I want to complete this, okay, and then we'll see what happens, okay? We'll wait to see what they're going to do. Take care. Spyder, here comes Spyder CFL Red Zone rule, okay? I'm really proud of this presentation I put together. They better take it serious, and Mr. Ambrosi, if you're listening, if you're watching this, you better fulfill your commitment you made to me and present that, okay, to all, like you said, it was going to be presented to the CFL Innovation Rules Committee, and everybody had a copy, you said, so let's see, you're going to fulfill your commitment in 2021 and present it, and I got to get it exposed to all CFL fans that this is happening. I got to get out on national TV with it, okay, that this is happening. Signing off, Spyder.